My next topic is tender, but it's an important one to cover. We're discussing ways to support a friend who has lost a child. My next guest is a child loss mom herself, and after experiencing that heartache, she went to school to become a child loss and grief coach in an effort to help others through it. Jen Larsen joins me. And as a grief coach, Jen, you support other women who have experienced the loss of a child, and we all want to know how to do the same. So first, you say that it matters that we just show up, big or small.
Yes, absolutely. Just showing up makes the biggest difference to that friend that has lost a child. And it doesn't have to be in big or elaborate ways. It can be just small, simple things. So simple ways could just be like sending them a card in the mail, telling them you're thinking of them, shooting them just a small little text. Bigger ways, like for example, after my first daughter passed away, at her 1 year mark of her death, we woke up that morning to signs in our yards and purple balloons, which purple represents her, all throughout our neighborhood. So that was a more big and elaborate way, but it meant the world to us to know that people remembered her. So just remember, just small and simple things can make a huge impact. It doesn't always have to be big.
I like you giving us that grace. Your second one is just saying something. Saying something is better than saying nothing.
Yes, absolutely. I know that angel moms worry so much that your child will be forgotten after they have passed. And that is actually one of the biggest fears. So not saying something just almost reiterates to them that maybe their child has been forgotten. And I've also heard from the other side from friends that say, I'm afraid to say something. I don't know what to say for fear of bringing up sadness or bringing up the loss. And one thing I will tell you is that as a child loss mom, we don't ever forget. We are thinking about them every single day. And sadness just happens to be an emotion that you feel often. So you saying something isn't going to make us all of a sudden remember that our child has died. And it's not all of a sudden going to make us sad. It actually does the opposite. It actually makes us happy to know that you guys are thinking about our angel as well.
Okay, and the next one, Jen, I like because I think it can be applied to so many facets of life when we're trying to help people, to be specific with how we can help.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of people will say, hey, reach out to me if you need some help, or let me know if you need something. We are so consumed by our grief and overcome by these intense emotions that more than likely we are not going to reach out to you. We don't want to be a burden. At least that's what I hear most of my clients say is, I don't want to be any more of a burden because I already am receiving so much help. So be specific if you really are wanting to help by like saying, hey, I have time between 1 and 3 on this day. I could come and take your other kids to go do something fun so you can have time to rest. Or, hey, let me take them home from carpool for you so that you're not worrying about going out and having to do that. So just being specific in ways that you're willing to help helps us and eases that burden.
Can you shared a couple of ideas there, but were there any that you specifically appreciated when you were managing your grief?
Yeah, just like I said, just those that were willing to say, hey, I'll come take your kids and give them something to focus on that's fun so that you can have that time to yourself to do whatever it is you need to do. And sometimes, especially early on in grief, it's, oh my gosh, I have time to actually get in the shower, or I have time to actually feel like I can feel my emotions and cry for a moment. Because sometimes you don't always want to be doing that all the time around your kids and your family or your friends. And it's nice to have that time, to have that alone time to really process what's going on for you.
Thank you. So your next one is talking about not avoiding your friend who has lost a child. Is that something that you think happens a lot?
Yes, unfortunately, it does. It happens a lot. With my clients, that's one of the things I hear a lot as well is I feel like I'm losing my friends. So not only have I lost my child and I'm struggling in that area, now I feel like I'm losing my friends as well. And it just feels even more devastating to us. So be willing to show up in ways that you were before your friend lost her child. Continue to invite them to things that you did before, even if you know they're probably not going to show up to it.
Continue to invite. I like that. And your next one, you kind of shared an example earlier when you were talking about your child's anniversary, but remembering the important days.
Yes. Oh, remembering those important days. Yes. Those important days would be like the death day, their birthdays, holidays. These are all days that the emotions are much more intense. And when you want your child to be remembered. So, an easy way to do that is to put it in a calendar on your phone. I actually have a friend that we weren't super close with after my first daughter died, but she did this. It has been 15 years since Camber passed away, and she has texted me every single year on her birthday and her death day to tell us that she cares and that she remembers her. And it just means the world to us. And now she has included our second daughter that passed away, Kylie, in those texts as well. And it takes her only a matter of a few seconds to send over that text, but it means so much to us.
And your last tip is one that you just did as you were telling that story. And we're talking about saying those kids' names, not to avoid saying their names, and then share any memories that you have with their parents.
Yes. So when your child is alive, you hear your children's names all the time, sometimes more than you want to hear it, if your kids are arguing or whatever. But when your child dies, their names are not mentioned very much unless it's you saying it or maybe a spouse or a sibling. And so it means the world to know that you're remembering them, you're willing to say their name, and then you're willing to share memories that maybe things that we didn't get to experience, but when you share those memories, we get to experience those with you and kind of live through you in that way. And that's a beautiful, beautiful blessing for us to receive.
Thank you so much, Jen. I think you've given us some really helpful advice. For those of us who may be a little tentative when it comes to this topic, I appreciate you. Where can we find more from you?
Yes, I am on social media. So I'm on Instagram under Jen Larsen Coaching, and Larsen is spelled with an E end. Same for Facebook. It's Jen Larsen Coaching there as well. You can also reach out to me through email, and that is lc.jenlarsen@gmail.com. I also have a journal that I created for those that are grieving and lost someone close to them. And that is a subtle way that you can actually work with me is by using that journal or giving that journal to someone that has lost someone special to them.
Oh, that's a great idea. Thanks so much, Jen.